is Natalie, aka Stop Motion Potion. Welcome to my channel. Last time I looked at Chicken Run Hatching the movie. Now I'm looking at The Art of Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Here are the book stats. The title, The Art of Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, is written by Andy Lane and Paul Simpson. It's 160 pages. It's written in English and was published by Titan Books in London in the year 2005. When looking at the footage for this review, it looks a bit blurry, so apologies for that. There are quite a few differences between this and Chicken Run Hatching the movie, one of them being that the publishing details in this book is not opposite the contents page, but has a massive picture that takes up the full right page and a little bit of the left, whereas Chicken Run, you had it opposite the contents page, which you can see now on the right, very small. And opposite that is the acknowledgements, which you don't normally see at the beginning of a book, they're normally at the back. And you have an author's dedication there, which is normally at the front. I really like the character line-up along the bottom there. We have a sort of mini introduction here by Nick Park and Steve Box. One of the things I absolutely love is their signatures, as I feel it gives a bit more of a personal touch, and I love the picture underneath. I like the behind the scenes pictures, however, as this is sort of like a mini introduction before Peter Lord's forward, I would have liked a bit more text, as on the right I feel like there's too many pictures on the page. Here's the forward by Peter Lord, nice amount of text there, signature at the bottom, his photo in a frame in the top left. The frames is a recurring thing throughout the book, but it's with different characters as you go through it, and I love that it's this book's equivalent to the full character pages in Chicken Run Hatching the movie. Getting into the heart of the book now, where they're looking at Wallace and Gromit's early adventures, so A Grand Day Out. Love the drawing sketch of the rocket there, absolutely love that. Moving on to Wrong Trousers, I love the picture of Peter Sallis and Nick Park on the bottom of the right page there. Sadly, Peter Sallis is no longer with us, but it's great that he's immortalised in this book and the films forever as Wallace. He is Wallace, no one can replace him. It's one of my favourite behind the scenes photos ever. I just wish it was slightly bigger in the book. Like a lot of other behind the scenes photos in this book, like the one on the left page at the top there. I think it's nice to have this little recap if you're not familiar with that, and especially with the Kraken Contraptions page, because those of you who don't know, these are actual shorts that may be found on the Were-Rabbit DVD as like extras. They're definitely worth checking out. If you haven't got the DVD, definitely try and type them in on YouTube, because they're worth checking out. They're classic Wallace and Gromit, very funny. There's some great little sketches on the left page here, and also a great photo of Nick Park and Steve Box going through some storyboards. A great size behind the scenes photo, which is what I'd look for. This picture of a drawing of the Were-Rabbit is a bit too big for me. However, I love the colours in it and the chalk texture to it, and I love the drawing of Gromit in the bottom right. Here we have a great pen sketch in the top left of Victor, early development. I love how exaggerated his hair is. We have a behind the scenes photo, bottom left, and we have a piece by Michael Salter on the right page, whose work we saw in Chicken Run Hatching the movie. I love his art style, and I just love the colours, they really pop. More great behind the scenes pictures now. We have two of the storyboard artists in the top left. The image is the right size. You see more of the studio, I'm fine with that. Photo of the production design at the bottom, and I love the character exploration of Hutch on the right side there. I love the bottom left picture on the left page there. Great use of light and dark shadow ink drawing of Victor against the were-rabbit. Very effective. And I love that sort of painting drawing of the were-rabbit at night on the right page. It's a gorgeous, beautiful piece of artwork. Love that. There was a behind the scenes photo on that at the bottom, but it was again small. Make it bigger. Now this page, set piece 1, I took that, at first I was a little confused, and so I took it as like the big events of the story, or act 1, act 2, act 3 plot points you have to hit. I don't know why they chose set piece 1, but anyway, I love that colour drawing in the top left. I wish I could frame that because I love that. Great behind the scenes picture on the bottom right, on the right page, of an animator animating Wallace and Gromit, equivalent to the Thunderbirds getting ready scene, is the best way of putting it. Film still again on the right. I don't mind it as you have the storyboards on the left, but is it necessary? I don't know. I do like a film still, but when there's too many, which I'll get to later. Anyway, there's a good picture of the Wallace puppet on the left page there. Great photo. Talking about the characters, you have an info box there about Peter Sallis, the voice of Wallace. You have a few of them for the rest of the voice cast, and you also have smaller boxes, which you've seen a few already, smaller, saying did you know or did you see in the film. I'm covering up Wallace's dignity there as a naked puppet. Nice sketches at the top of the page. Nice little behind the scenes photo at the bottom on the opposite side. I love the picture top right. I love the colours of the sky, the framing and perspective. I'd love to have that piece of artwork framed. I love it. Nice black and white drawing there of Wallace getting turned into a were-rabbit. I love the drawings at the bottom of the left page where Wallace is pleading to Gromit to help him out the situation. I think that's so powerful and emotional, even though it has no colour and it's just lines. Very powerful, more so than the top image, I think. Now from Wallace to Gromit himself, one of my favourite animated dogs ever. More sketches. Again, there's a still from the film, and I went through this and Chicken Run Hatch in the movie again with a fine-tooth comb, seeing how many images were in both and how many are in stills. And it seems that Curse of the Were-Rabbit has less stills, but there's lots of pictures, so it's really frustrating because I feel there's too many pictures in this. Great behind the scenes photo there, top left, Gromit on the marrow with an animator animating, and one at the bottom where he's in the van operating the decoy rabbit. Another great key scene, colour drawing at the bottom right on the right page with the still. See, that works because it's the same scene, just fully realised and before. Now we have Lady Tottington, voiced by Helena Bonham Carter. I love the two images at the bottom left there of them sculpting the mouth. I would love more pictures like that. Maybe a spread on that. You have the info box about Helena Bonham Carter there on the left page, and a sort of Lady Tottington fashion sketch. And you have character design in top left, and then you have like two of the frames in Tottington Hall at the bottom. I like that they showed those miniatures. However, compared to Hatch in the movie has a lineup of miniatures and they're each isolated and you get a better look at them, whereas that was two pieces of Tottington Hall, which is a big place, so I would have liked more. A bit disappointed. Love that colour sketch of Victor's house there on the previous page, just gone. It's one of my favourite. They really exaggerated his hair in the concept or early key frame concepts of Victor, which is interesting. I haven't said this yet, but you may have noticed on a few of the pages some drawings that are faded into the pages as a little background decoration. They can either be really fun or really creepy, like one a few pages ago in the book, or at the beginning of the video with Wallace and his eyes sticking out, that and a blue shadow. That was creepy territory for me. And this film, Were Rabbit itself, is not creepy at all. Moving on to this page quickly, I love the early key art on the right page. Just again, use the light and dark, and also the shadow of the were-rabbit behind PC Macintosh at the bottom right. It's great stuff. Here we have the vicar. We have a bit of information on him and the voice actor. What's interesting is on the right there, the early concept design at the bottom on the left. It's very creepy and sinister compared to the more friendly design that we know from the film. Here we have Hutch, and in the little info box there, a fact you may not have known, the voice of Hutch was just Peter Salas's voice, but sped up, so that's an interesting fact for fans. Now we go on to the townsfolk, expanding the world of Wallace and Gromit, which I absolutely love. I love the little character pre-production sheet at the bottom left there of the 3 children and what they will wear. I'm not sure if I saw that or something like that at the Aardman exhibition at Waterside Arts and Sale, or the Cosgrove Hall exhibition at Sale, but they were really good exhibitions. I'd love to see more stuff like that in the future, art and behind the scenes books going forward. Onto the Were Rabbit now itself, and you can tell what I'm going to say about that behind the scenes picture. It's a great one of the Were Rabbit looking out the doorway, but guess what? I wish that behind the scenes photo was bigger. It really lets down this book for me that they have some of the film stills really big and the behind the scenes pictures really small. And one of my biggest pet peeves in books is having photos take up both pages with a fold down the middle. Love the concept art on the top left of that page there of Gromit chasing Victor, chasing the were-rabbit. Great action art. On the right you can see them acting out how the were-rabbit would move and act, and also behind the scenes of the armature. I recommend watching the featurette on that on the DVD. More production artwork sketches. Love that one in bottom left of the were-rabbit eating a melon, Victor looking where he's going on a scooter. Classic Aardman. We're seeing some storyboards now. I would like to have had the layout more like Chicken Run, where you get to see the storyboards across quite a few pages consecutively, one after the other, instead of isolated like this. Here, I love the garden behind the scenes picture with 2 assistant animators. It's a great photo. It's just the fold of the book is cutting some of it off, and I don't like that. But otherwise, I'd be quite happy with that picture. It would be another one I'd want to frame. Like I said in my Chicken Run video, I don't think this book manages to get the right balance of behind the scenes, production work and stills with text right, to be honest, which is a bit of a shame. Here we go more into the sets. Love that drawing sketch at the bottom left there with Wallace going into Gromit's room, very full on. It's quite emotional and it's just like a pencil sketch. It's really nice how they've managed to communicate that in that drawing. Love the colours in the image in the top right on the right page. Again, the use of colour is just fantastic, and the behind the scenes picture on the bottom of the right page is also great, because not only you get to see the scale of the set, you get to see more of the shooting studio, which is nice. Now, I know I've complained about the size of the stills in this book, but this double page middle image is actually just a photo of the set itself, and you get a closer look. The schematics fading into background on the page. Great behind the scenes photo at the top on the right. Just wish we could see them a bit better in more detail. I absolutely love this concept art on the left here. PC Macintosh going down the street. The colours are gorgeous. I love that framed. It's so beautiful. Not sure about the drawings / sketches on the bottom left there though. Do like on the right page just gone the photo of the set. I love that they included just images of the sets with no characters. An animator animating Wallace and Gromit there looking at the monitor. I'm not going to repeat what I've already said numerous times about the photos in this book, so I'm just going to move on, because you probably guessed how much it annoys me by now at this point in the video. Set photo, top right there on the right page. More great behind the scenes photos now. An animator reaching into the set on the right page. Have an animator animating Wallace in the basement on the left. Great photo of the model department and Tottington Hall there on the right. Great to get an idea of scale of the hall itself. Have a film still of inside Tottington Hall and a few of the paintings that are in there. Now, that picture top right, I love the lighting in that scene, and it's so good to see a behind the scenes picture of someone animating on that scene, because whoever lit that scene, like, honestly, I just want to say you did a good job on that scene. It was so beautifully lit. I know from doing my mental health film, lighting is difficult. It's not as easy as you think. Here we have the fun fair, Tottington Hall. You can see the side of the set there, the photo. Great behind the scenes photos on the right. You have the architectural drawing of the Helter Skelter at the bottom, just gone. This sort of painting drawing on the left here reminds me, subconsciously, I think that was the inspiration for one of my scenes in my storyboard for my Mothmas animation. Must have thought about that, just composition wise, but don't worry, I didn't end up doing that scene, so I haven't plagiarized. It wasn't in my final animation, that what was in my storyboard. Love the behind the scenes picture of them animating in the church on the bottom left there. And I love that we have close-ups of the church windows, the details on the windows, and oh, they're just so funny. Here we have Victor versus Wallace. Now, on this page, both pictures on, well, the top left and then the bottom that goes along both pages, I love. You really get a sense of scale of the set compared to the animators. In the top image with the trees, the anti-pesto van, animating the van going through the woods. And then the bottom you see the whole set with people behind the scenes. The way the light is coming through the trees there, I absolutely love it. Makes me think of Lord of the Rings when they're at Lothlorien with Galadriel. One of my favourite images in this book, gotta be honest. And no, I haven't seen Rings of Power yet. More storyboards and behind the scenes picture there. A double page film still. Another thing I haven't mentioned yet is that on some of the pages in the book, like in Chicken Run Hatch in the movie, there's pieces of dialogue and one-liners. There's less dialogue in this book than Chicken Run, I think, but even so, it's a nice addition. Love that picture in the bottom right there. Nice use of cool muted tones, really works. More the anti-pesto van. Love the picture top left of the miniature anti-pesto van compared to the life-size one, and the behind the scenes pictures of animating inside the van and outside the van. Even though I do have a few problems with this book, I wouldn't say they're enough to put me off completely, as there are quite a few things I do really love about it and like. One of the things I should have said before now is in this book compared to Chicken Run, there's not many captions that relate to the images. What I mean is there's not as many captions citing like who artists were or who members of the team are in the photographs, which is a bit sad really, I think, because you don't get to know who some of the artists' work is. Whereas in Chicken Run Hatch in the movie, you have captions for virtually every picture in the book. Love that photo on the right. You see the camera angled at Wallace and what the camera monitor's seeing as well. Love behind the scenes pictures like that. Another thing I've failed to mention is that throughout the book you have quotes and passages from the team. So Steve Box, Nick Park, Melon Crossingham, and many others who worked on Were Rabbit. It's great getting their insights on certain parts of the film, what it was like working on the film, and it's a great little addition in the book. I wish there was more of that in Chicken Run Hatch in the movie. It's great that this book included them bits and pieces of knowledge, first-hand experience from the filmmakers themselves. You have a great concept sketch there when Wallace and Gromit first captured the first rabbit. I have to say, I do like that the film didn't harm any of the rabbits in the film. I know this is animated, but I'm talking like it didn't show rabbits getting hurt, because it is, sadly, that is something that happens in real life and they get mistreated like a lot of other animals get mistreated. I'm just happy that these characters, Wallace and Gromit, you see them look after the rabbits and not hurt them or harm them. And I'm not trying to make this an animal rights campaign video instead of a book review, but it's just my thoughts on that subject. Anyway, great to see we see Gromit with the strings when he's in the van, like close up there, isolated on his own. Moving on to the latter half of the book, I forgot to say the frame things which at the top of each sort of chapter, if you will, where the page numbers are on each page in the corners, they're also in frames as well, which I love. Like, it goes with the film. A nice added detail, aesthetically pleasing, which they didn't need to do, but they did. Love the storyboards for this scene where Gromit helps Wallace come round by the power of cheese. I love that they've just accented the cheese in the storyboards by yellow, and I love when storyboards have a bit of colour to them. Love the top right picture, Nick Park looking and reviewing an animation scene, which in animation you don't really get shots right first time. It does take, the most annoying thing is when you have to start a shot all over again when you've made a mistake and it's in the middle of a shot or near the end. You have some close-ups of posters with puns on. I love the stained glass windows. I mentioned about the stained glass windows earlier, but if you see this one, apologies for the camera work and the blurriness, but you can sort of make out what's going on there. Putting the fingers in their ears is so funny. That's why I love Aardman so much. Now on this page, this is probably one of the best Aardman photos you're going to get in an Aardman book ever. It has Ray Harryhausen, the legend Ray Harryhausen, in there visiting the studio, and all the staff and members of Aardman there, and he talked to them, and that is a moment in time for sure, and they must have that picture on their wall. Sadly, Ray Harryhausen, the legend, the godfather of stop motion animation, is no longer with us, just like Peter Sallis isn't. You can see there in the right photograph on the left page, and another actor who voiced Mr. Mulch. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but it's nice to see them with their puppets. You have publicity there on the right of the poster for the film. Really cool to see that photo on the left of them presenting Were Rabbit at the Cannes Film Festival, which is awesome. Another film poster on the right. Is it necessary? I don't think so, personally. And one last double page still, which I love because it's sort of saying, now's the end of the book, get out the door sort of thing. So I think that's quite hilarious. More advertising of the film and associated merchandise, which I wasn't expecting to see in really an Aardman making of book, but there you go, it's in there. So if you're interested, I know at some point I'm going to try and collect them all. With that, it's the end of the book. You can see a blueprint of Wallace with the Mind-O-Matic on the back, which I really love, and the blurb. Overall, apart from not all the photos having descriptions and folds in the middle of pictures, and the film still's taking up more space than the behind the scenes pictures, which were tiny. That said, I still enjoyed this book. It is a good book to have in your Wallace and Gromit collection, so I hope you enjoyed that thorough review. I give this book 3.5 stars out of 5. And be careful, everyone, if you see a were rabbit out and about on your travels. With that, I'll see you next time. Bye!